This tutorial will focus on how to identify sentence fragments in your writing. Now, before we begin, in your own words, can you define what a sentence fragment is? In very basic terms, a sentence fragment is an incomplete idea. So it's an idea that cannot stand as its own sentence. It needs something more. Let's take a look at a few examples. Because the woman drove without a license, if the students fail the assignment, they will have to resubmit it. The teacher being the most active faculty member, she stopped, for example, the start of the semester on campus. Can you identify the sentence fragments in these examples? So our sentence fragments include, because the woman drove without a license, the teacher being the most active faculty member, and for example, the start of the semester on campus. Now let's look at why. Fragment number 1, because the woman drove without a license. So this is an example of a dependent clause. And you can tell by that first word, dependent, that it needs something else in order to be a complete thought or a complete sentence. When you use dependent clauses, you need to attach them to independent clauses, and then that will make up one complete sentence. So a way that we could fix this first example would be, because the woman drove without a license, she was heavily fined. Okay. So our dependent clause adds information, but it does not function as its own sentence. Look at this example. If the school does not give scholarships next year, is this a dependent clause or an independent clause? Okay, again, this is an example of a dependent clause. We need more information. We need to attach our independent clause. If the school does not give scholarships next year, I will not be able to attend. Fragment number 2, the teacher being the most active faculty member. I'm going to give you a hint and say the problem lies around this area. Can you identify why this is a fragment? So our verb that we're using here is not a main verb. This is an example of a gerund. And you cannot use gerunds or infinitives as your main verb. If you're unfamiliar with these terms, let me refresh your memory. Look at this example. I love skiing. So here, love is our main verb, and skiing is our gerund, because it's seemingly a verb that's functioning as a noun. In the infinitive tense, I love to ski. To ski would be our infinitive. Okay, so here when we say the teacher being the most active faculty member, we're using a gerund, but it does not function as a main verb. We could change it to say the teacher liked being the most active faculty member, so now I have a main verb, and then I can use my gerund with it, no problem. Or I could just change the tense. The teacher had been the most active faculty member. Fragment number 3. For example, the start of the semester on campus. Can you identify why this is a fragment? Okay, so we're missing something in this sentence. We're missing a main verb. I could say, for example, the start of the semester on campus was a disaster. Now I have my main verb. How do you avoid fragments? Make sure each of your sentences have a subject, a main verb, and they are complete thoughts.